One of the best for beginners flowering plant is the sweet Alyssum plant. That is a very hardy plant, and in this video we will discuss all about Alyssum plant care, which includes its growing season, fertilizer requirements, soil mix, sun requirements and much more. So keep following and do subscribe to our channel for more such videos. Sweet Alyssum is an annual winter flowering plant native to Mediterranean region. It's also called as carpet of snow and sweet Alyssum, etc. It produces such type of tiny, white-colored, fragrant flowers, especially in the springs. Sweet Alyssum plant is a hardy and low-maintenance flower plant that is also non-toxic to kids and pets, which overall makes this plant best for growing in winters. It's a very common plant, mostly grown in outdoors as a ground cover, making borders, etc. You can grow them either by their seeds or cuttings, but the most easy option would be buying their saplings in the start of winters. And by following a few simple things, you can make your whole garden fragrant with a single pot of Alyssum. The first and the most important thing in sweet Alyssum plant care is understanding its season of growth. So the sweet Alyssum plant is an annual plant that can be grown in the starting winters up to late spring days. In this time period, Alyssum plant grow very fast, produce thousands of flowers and make such seed pods. The ideal temperature range for this plant is from 14 to 25 degrees Celsius, which is below room temperature. Means a cool area is best to grow this flower plant. In the colder regions with this temperature range over the whole year, you can grow them all around the year. But in a temperate region, they have around a life cycle of 5 to 6 months. And in the starting summers, as the temperature starts rising, sweet Alyssum plant also dries out. Another thing in sweet Alyssum plant care is their pot size requirement. So they are very hardy plants that can be grown in small but wider pots as they have a spreading nature. You can also grow them in abundance, means growing multiple plants side by side so they can appear bushier. We can easily plant them in a 5 to 6 inches of pot and try to choose a shallow pot so they can spread around the pot. Some of the good size pots are also linked in the description box to buy. Another thing in Alyssum plant care is their soil mix. They are hardy plants that can be grown in a variety of soil mixes, but you will find the best growth in a slightly loose and a well-draining soil mix. You can easily make a good soil mix at home. Simply follow the video from the description box. The only motive here is to avoid waterlogging and soil compactness. For watering this plant, always wait for the soil to dry out a little and then water. No matter how long it takes the mixture to look a little dry. And if you are a beginner, try to choose a clay pot as it have a lesser chance of overwatering. And you can also subscribe to our channel for more tips and tricks. Another important thing in sweet Alyssum plant care is choosing an ideal spot for your plants. As we know it's a flowering plant, obviously sunlight is important. A good sunny spot helps Alyssum plant to grow new buds and ultimately more flowers. The chance of pest attack will be less as well. So if you have a sunny spot, it's optimum to provide them at least 2 to 4 hours of sun, and more than that will be even better. Deficiency of sunlight appears in the form of less flowers, weaker plants and might be with yellow leaves. So place this plant in an area where it can get at least a few hours of sunlight. Another important thing in sweet Alyssum plant care is their fertilization requirements. Alyssum plant is a light feeder that requires almost no fertilizer to grow and bloom, but it will definitely get a lot of benefits from regular fertilization. For the fertilizer, you can use a small amount of cow dung while they transplant, and afterwards you can use mustard cake liquid every 2 weeks. It's best for the heavy blooming of sweet Alyssum plant, and you can also make it at home. Video on that is linked in the description box, must check that out. Remember, it's a hardy plant and can fed on any other fertilizer in case if you don't have mustard cake. Pruning and deadheading of spent flowers is also a growth booster thing. As we know, it's an annual plant, so obviously the plant will try to make seeds as much as and as soon as possible so it can be grown next season. But once the seeds are formed, the plant naturally dies. So here, by removing the spent flowers, we can push the plant to keep producing flowers. All you need to do is that cut off the dead and dried flowers and also subscribe to our channel for more tips and tricks. Now let's talk about what problems can appear while you grow this plant. Overall, it's a hardy plant and following proper care will reduce the chance of any such problems very much. Still, yellow leaves and root rot can appear, and both happens mostly due to an overwatered condition, and using a well-draining mixture can also eliminate this issue. A good soil mix is also added in the description box to buy. But remember, yellow leaves can also appear due to some other reasons. So if you are dealing with yellow leaves on any of your plant, a step-by-step treatment guide is also linked in the description box. Follow that. Follow the weekly Neem spray routine to avoid any pest attack because they are also susceptible to pests like aphids and spider mites. Neem pesticide video is also linked in the description box. So it's all about Alyssum plant care. The only discouraging thing about this beautiful and fragrant flowering plant is that it's a seasonal plant that ultimately have to die. Here is a video on some of the unique flowering plants that can live for years with you, unlike the Alyssum plant. Must check it out and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.